All right, y'all. Welcome back. We've had almost 24 hours to digest what we saw yesterday up at MetLife Stadium with the Baltimore Ravens going against the New York Giants. Now, as you saw yesterday, if you watched my last stream, I wasn't too upset. I kind of figured something like this would happen. So I was kind of in an upbeat mood, just a little bit. But now that I've had time to sit and think about it and watch other people annoy me from afar, my attitude's changed a little bit. So we're going to dive into that. But first off, let me shout out one of my patrons, Yolanda B. She and I had a little discussion yesterday, and she wanted me to kind of shout out Odafe Owe. Odafe No Way, Odafe Go Away, whatever you want to call him. She wanted me to say something positive. Wait till the Giants game came out to give my assessment of him, so to speak, what I thought about him and Patrick Queen. But I think specifically she wanted me to go in on Odafe. So I just want to say, listen, yesterday he only had one personal foul that affected the game. He had one personal foul that turned a 4th and 1 into a first down and led to the Giants getting points. So indirectly, he helped the Giants defeat us. I guess that is a positive aspect, huh? He's helping a team win. He's doing what he needs to do to help someone win a game. Unfortunately, it just wasn't us. And also, I guess another positive of Owe is he's pretty quiet on the football field. You don't hear a lot of noise from him. You don't get much, pretty much a dude just going out there doing nothing, taking up space, getting a paycheck. That's a positive thing. He's gainfully employed. This man has a job. There's no living check to check for him. He's out here making moves, but they're not on the football field. I know he had a sit down with Marlon on his show, and they spoke specifically about basketball, and he said he was a killer basketball player. He's a basketball player before he was a football player. So maybe that's his sport. Maybe he needs to transition over to the NBA because he's not getting it. Now, I know once Shalana sees this, she's going to be pretty upset with me, and I'm probably going to get some hate mail talking about, hey, we need to wait for Njabo to come in. And yes, I know his name is Ajabo, but he's injured right now, so he's Njabo. And I know she thinks that once he gets in and hits his stride, that's going to make Odafe Owe better. But my rationale to her is the same thing we said about Patrick Queen after his first year. Hey, let's get somebody outside or opposite of him, and it's going to elevate his play. And we went and got Justin Houston, and it didn't elevate his play. And we put some people around him and in front of him, and it did not elevate his play. Then they were like, hey, we can get Bobby Wagner. That'll elevate his play. No, we got Bobby Wagner and sent him to the damn bench. So Jabo coming in, I'm not for certain. I know y'all have high hopes for him. I'm not expecting anything from him this year. I don't think that, all of this pressure should be heaped upon an injured rookie who got injured this calendar year. He got injured in this calendar year. So I don't know why you think that he should be the savior of our pass rush. And just like with the Owe story, he hasn't been playing football that long. He has not been playing football that long. But of course, since he had a decent year playing opposite Aiden Hutchinson, he's supposed to come in here and be a star. But I'll leave that for another time. Let me get and kind of divert my anger back to where it's supposed to go. All right, let's get back into this game. First and foremost, I had a bad feeling all week that something wasn't going to be right. Something was going to go awry, and we might not possibly win this game. But when Justin Tucker missed that field goal, I said, you know what? Today is not going to be a good day. Every time he seems to miss a field goal early, we don't seem to win that game. It's like a trend. It's a curse. It's like us as Baltimore fans, we know Justin Tucker rarely ever misses, but when he does, something just ain't right. And our team, as usual, doesn't come into games prepared, and that goes upon coaching. Speaking of coaching, let's dive into some of the things that I saw yesterday during the game, which is not just a yesterday type thing, because first and foremost, it's discipline. The penalties are getting out of control. We started the season one of the lowest penalized teams in the league, but we've come full circle and we've reverted back to original form, because since John Harbaugh's been here, and I know somebody said on the stream last night, oh, this is uncanny. We're not normally penalized that much. Bullshit. Since when? No, excuse my language. Since when? This team has always been undisciplined. Matt Judon, to name a few, he was good for a penalty every other game for no apparent reason. Like, this team is undisciplined. They get away with a lot of things. We have untimely penalties that lead to losses, just like yesterday. Not just with the Adafe Owe, with Ronnie Stanley had one. Patrick McCard had some. I mean, Patrick McCard had, I think he had 2 penalties. The fullback's getting 2 penalties. Listen, this is very frustrating to me because I've seen this since 2012. I've seen this disturbing trend over and over and over again, and it doesn't seem to get fixed. And John Harbaugh doesn't seem to get in front of it and kind of fix what's going on. But he will go after and have his press conference and spew the same nonsense over and over and over again. And my question to you, Ravens flock, is when are you going to stop believing him? When are you going to stop believing in the fact that he's going to fix these issues that he hasn't fixed? If you turn on that game yesterday and you turn on a game in 2013, they pretty much look similar. Same issues, same problems. Nothing's being fixed. Nothing's being done. You know, definition of insanity. And if you listen to Marlon Humphrey, he's getting sick of it as well. Now, he sent out a cryptic tweet. Nobody really knows what it means. But, I mean, if you look into it, it's pretty much what I'm saying. We keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. We're blowing leads late in games, week after week, doing the same thing. Now, as far as the coaching goes, Mike McDonald, I've said it before, he's in over his head. He really is. I know y'all don't want to believe it. You want to say, oh, no, he's doing a fantastic job. No, the talent is kind of overcoming the coaching because we have good players. We have Marcus Peters back there coaching up that secondary. I don't think people see that. Now, I didn't want Calais Campbell back, but I think Calais Campbell is leading that defensive line, and he's showing them what they need to do, where they need to go, because if you go tat-a-tat coaching-wise, McDonald is getting out-coached damn near every week. And if we start with Gregory Roman, I was so ready to give that man praise. Started the game, I was like, you know what? I think I've been a little too hard on him because there are times, there are periods, pockets, whatever you want to call them, where he calls good games or good segments of games. You know, you sit there and say, okay, maybe he's turning a corner, he's trying something new, he's doing something else. But when he seems to get flustered, when he seems to get counterpunched by the opposing defensive coordinator, he doesn't know what to do. And in that one rare time where he makes an in-game adjustment, he doesn't expect that the defensive coordinator is going to pivot and make a second adjustment, because now it's like, what? John, what do you want me to do? I made one adjustment. I can't do it. I don't have the power. Like, what do you want from me? Listen, I have sheet, I have plans, I have plays. If they don't work, what else do you want from me? I'm a professional offensive coordinator. What more can I do? And that's where I think that a lot of times we get out coached. I know I joke, but in all seriousness, it's what happens. We like to punch, but when we get punched, we don't know what to do. Mike Tyson said it. Hey, everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. And we get hit in the mouth and we fall apart. And Greg Roman runs into his comfort zone. It's kind of like in Waterboy when the coach was in his mother's heels and just like, they just keep messing with me. They won't leave me alone. He gets in that comfort zone and he reverts back to his former self. And we end up losing. Now, I know a lot of Ravens flock. They don't watch other football other than their Ravens play because that's all they care about. That's all they want to see. That's their main concern. But if you actually took a look at yesterday's game, and if you follow the Giants and other teams like that, you will see Brian Daboll is an excellent coach. And sometimes coaching matters. You cannot tell me man for man that the Giants have a better roster than the Ravens do. You can't say it. No one with a straight face will be like, yeah, they do. They have horrible talent, and they have the worst talent at the most critical position in football because Daniel Jones just isn't that guy. He's not that dude. You don't expect much from him. But the Giants are 5-1. And, of course, I've heard some Ravens fans say they haven't beaten anybody. Well, they beat us, dummy. They beat us. So are we nobody? Is that what you're saying? Because I've heard y'all say it. So are you admitting that your team is a bunch of nobodies because we can't get it together? But coaching matters. Sometimes when you don't have the talent at the level that you needed to be, you scheme certain things. You do certain things. You have motivating factors that make your team better. And that's what he's doing, because defensively, yes, they have a couple pieces here and there, but they have no stars. They have nobody game in and game out that teams are like, we have to strategize for. We got to scheme for that one player, or else he's going to wreck shop. They don't have it. But their defense shut us down, and I wonder why. Coaching. This team had one job: shut down Saquon Barkley. It's the one thing that they had to do to win this game. And for the most part, they shut him down. For the most part, they pretty much had it handled. So you're telling me that this team has one guy on offense and Dexter Lawrence on defense? I give it to him. I'm a fan now. I've seen that the guy played for several weeks. Dude is legit. But you telling me you have Saquon Barkley on offense, Dexter Lawrence on defense. So you pretty much got a guy on each side of the ball. And we can't beat that? We can't overcome that? We have a team full of semi-stars. We have Lamar Jackson. We have Mark Andrews. You're telling me you can't scheme up something to get around these players? I know they have Kayvon Thibodeau, but up until this last game, wasn't doing much. Wasn't doing much. I told you he was going to have a breakout game against us, because we seem to always fold under the pressure because our head coach does not have us prepared. And that's where the difference comes in. Daboll had them prepared. Daboll had them prepared for everything that was going to happen. And they didn't panic. When they went down, they didn't panic. They didn't go outside of their comfort zone. They didn't go outside of what they normally do. They stayed the course, and they slowly crept back in. Unlike us, we panic because that leadership panics, and we start doing things that we do not normally do. Just to let y'all know, Harbaugh is holding us back, and he's been holding us back. But I know the question is going to be, well, who are we going to get if we let go of Harbaugh? We'll get another head coach. Like, the what? He's not the only guy out there. He's not the only successful head coach in the world. He's not the only guy that came from nothing that can be somebody, because same thing happened with Brian Billick. We let him go, and we found John Harbaugh. Even though John Harbaugh is not really, to me, that important to our success, he came into a great culture. And once again, we still have a great culture. It's just not as good as it was because we let this one man deteriorate what we had going on as an organization. Instead of a bunch of tough guys that play their hearts out, we got a bunch of softies that can run 4.340s. And I'm not singling anybody out. We got a bunch of big, fast dudes, because that's what the Ravens said they wanted. The cast of John Harbaugh said at a presser, we want big, fast guys. And not once did I ever hear them say, we want guys that can play football. They said we are a height, weight, and speed type team. Not once did they say, I want guys that can play. I want guys that live, eat, and sleep football. No, they want speed, height, weight. And we've seen where that's gotten us, because we have a bunch of first-round picks right now that are fast. Some of them have a little bit of height, and they weigh the part. But can they play? Something to be discussed at a later time. Now, let's jump into whose fault is it that we lost the game yesterday, because that seems to be an ongoing debate. Whose fault is it? I say it's the coach's fault. But, you know, some people like to blame the offense. Some people like to blame the defense. So let's take a look at it. Offense, as normal, as in most of our losses, we score early. We don't score late. Now, granted, Lamar Jackson had that horrible interception. And you know me, I'm not one to absolve Lamar from anything. Listen, as great as he is, he can be under scrutiny as well. Like, that was a horrible call. That was a horrible decision on his part. You know, every quarterback knows, even most fans know, you don't throw late over the middle of the field. You don't do it. And you went and picked up a fumble off your back foot, try to throw a pass to the fullback. Why is there even a fullback on the field? See, that should be the question that's really being asked. Not why did Lamar make that throw? Why is there a fullback on the field? Why do we have a fullback on the team? It is 2022 going into 2023, right? And we're deploying a fullback as a weapon. But back to Lamar, he knows better. Lamar frustrates me sometimes because, Lamar, even in the games that we won, he can have a perfect game and he'll just throw up that one pass to get intercepted. Like, I'm just not understanding why he does it. Like, the Ravens are waiting for you to fail. They're hoping that you fail. They're hoping that he goes down his path where his stats kind of take a plunge and he lowers the price on what they think he's worth. Now, somebody asked me yesterday did I think that the Ravens were going to bring in some help in the form of a wide receiver. And my initial thought was no. And I said, no, I don't think they're going to bring in any help. But in the back of my mind, I was like, you know what? With the antics and the hijinks of one Robbie Anderson in Carolina, I figured he was angling to get out of there and come to Baltimore. He's not that expensive. He works out with Lamar in the offseason. He's kind of got a Baltimore type attitude. Like, he would fit here. He could possibly be our number one. I'm not saying he is a number one, but he could possibly be that. And I thought that would happen. But as of today, the Arizona Cardinals traded for Robbie Anderson for a 6th and a 7th round pick. Are you serious? Are you telling me that we couldn't have given up a 6th and 7th round pick? I know we wouldn't want to, but it's possible, and we need that help. So you can't tell me that as a franchise that this team is about winning. You can't tell me, looking at our wide receiving core, that they're dedicated to putting the best team on the field as possible. It just doesn't happen. Look at it like this. We had Hollywood Brown and we have Rashad Bateman. We still needed a wide receiver. Hollywood got traded. So now that means we have a need for 2 wide receivers. Bateman gets hurt. So now we have a need for 3 wide receivers. No move was still made. And I know y'all wanted the young boys to cook, but there's no way on God's green earth that you can make me believe that Tylan Wallace, James Prochet, and Devin Duvernay are a replacement for a veteran wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, and Rashad Bateman. You're a fool if you believe that. If you believe that they're equal in standards and equal in production, you're a fool. And I'm not calling you stupid, but you're a fool if you truly believe that those 3 can equal anything that even 2 of those receivers could do together, much less 3. So with that being said, you can't tell me the Ravens are all about winning. You can't tell me EDC is about putting together the best roster possible because they're looking for Lamar to fail. Now, yes, Lamar needs to have better decision-making. But I want y'all to look at this. He's only doing it because he has to put this team on his back. The Ravens are the only team in the NFL and possibly in NFL history that said, listen, I have a legitimate, certified, grade A, FDA stamped number 1 QB. I have a franchise quarterback, and I'm going to give him the least amount of weapons possible. And you can cry Mark Andrews to the day that y'all die, but it's not enough. He is not enough. And Rashad Bateman, good try. Hands of stone, Ronnie Garvin, I don't know. He may be a good one. He can't seem to stay healthy. And he can't seem to catch the ball when he's on the field. I don't know. Devin Duvernay, God bless him. He's playing above what we thought, but he's still not that dude. He still can't get separation from guys. My man Static, he sent me this graphic that shows the separation that the Baltimore Ravens wide receivers are getting from defenders. You tell me. You tell me. And this is what you put around Lamar Jackson, but you want him to succeed. You can't tell me that they're not sabotaging him, that they're trying to keep his dollars down. It's like Willie Beeman in Any Given Sunday. He was like, I'm going to play my way up. I'm going to get my dollars up and move on to wherever. But the Ravens like, hold on, buddy. Hold on. We're going to give you something you can't overcome. And that's Greg Roman and 3 horrible receivers. And that's exactly what happened. But then when he makes a mistake, everybody wants to chastise him. They want to nail him to the cross like, bruh, you can't do that. You're lowering your money. But no one wants to look at what they've given around him. Now, let's flip that on to the defensive side. Yes. The offense should have done a lot more in all of the games that we lost. Take nothing away from it, no questions. But who gets all the money? The defensive side of the ball. We allocate all of our money and all of our draft capital and all of our free agency into the defensive side of the ball. And y'all want to blame the offense, especially especially when you're going up against a team that has Saquon Barkley and Saquon Barkley. Their entire wide receiving core is hurt. They had to start a dude at one that they didn't even want on the team. They have backups upon backups. Their quarterback is horrible. But this $1 million defense couldn't stop him. But you're blaming Lamar, right? Yes, Lamar messed up. Take nothing away from him. He's got to be better. He's got to play better. But as we know, he has to be perfect for this team to win. Because even with this $1 million defense, they're not stopping anyone. Joe Flacco, Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, all of them has thrown for 300 yards on this defense. So don't give me the, well, you know, Marcus Williams is out, so yeah, things happen. They shouldn't happen. If I'm giving you all this money and you're walking around talking about we should have a top 5 secondary in this league, these things can't happen. You know, they want to chastise John Harbaugh for accepting that pass interference penalty. So I think either way, John Harbaugh, they'd have went at him. They'd have gone at him either way. Because if he'd accepted it, if he'd declined it and left it at 4th and 1, and they'd have got the first down, it was, oh, why didn't you put him at 3rd and 14? But he put him at 3rd and 14. No one expected them to get 16 yards on a 3rd and 14. They're the New York Giants with Daniel Jones at quarterback. But this all-world secondary gave up a 3rd and 14 that led to points. But no one wants to point at that. They want to point the finger back at Lamar. And I think maybe that's why I'm a little bit upset today, because I'm tired of these people, these YouTubers, whomever. They love Lamar when he's doing well. And when it gets them views, when it gets them clicks, when it gets them all this stuff for their channels or their articles or their tweets. But when he makes a mistake and isn't perfect, oh, he needs to clean this up. He's not worth that money. I told you. So essentially, you all were waiting in the works just to put him down. Because he's the only quarterback in the league that needs to be perfect. Because when Aaron Rodgers is out here putting up the same numbers, I don't hear y'all saying nothing. I hear y'all make the excuse of, well, he don't have any receivers. Devontae Adams left. But it's not an excuse for Lamar. But it's an excuse for Aaron Rodgers, who's supposed to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So don't worry. Lamar's going to get right. And y'all going to be surprised when he does. Because it's not going to be here. Why would he want to be here? Why would he want to stay with an organization that does not support him? Why would he want to stay with a fan base that turns their back on him every time there's adversity? Every time something goes wrong, Ravens fans turn on him and say, oh, see, he ain't worth that money. He's going to handicap the team next year. Well, what the team going to do with the money anyway? They're not signing nobody. What do we need? We need that extra $10, $15 million to get some more cornerbacks? Because I thought we had enough of them. And we're still not stopping low passing teams. We're still not stopping tier 3 and tier 4 quarterbacks. So what's the point of putting all this money in a defense that can't stop anyone? Now, I think collectively the team, they deserve the brunt of this. I think the team is responsible for this loss. So y'all want to put it on one side of the ball or the other, you go ahead and do that. But don't blame Lamar, because he's the only reason that we're relevant in the NFL. I keep asking people, if Lamar wasn't the quarterback and we had some of these other quarterbacks out here, would you be happy with this roster? And nobody is going to be happy with this roster because we don't have anything. We don't have anything. We have a head coach that doesn't really know what the fuck he's doing. Excuse my language, but he really doesn't. He has an offensive coordinator that for some reason, and we've seen this from the Super Bowl with the 49ers up till now, that he has stuff that's working. Kenyon Drake, 10 rushes, 119 yards. We saw that they couldn't stop the run. Why do you stop running the ball? Because he doesn't know what he's doing. And we don't have a head coach with the balls enough to say, bruh, get your stuff together. Because Brian Dable, he did. He said, hey, Wink, this slants that you running, it's not stopping them. They're rushing on us. Change it. He went up to him and change it. It ain't working. But we don't have a head coach that'll do that. We don't have a head coach that'll go up to a rookie defensive coordinator and say, hey, this ain't working. Fix it. Nope. They all sit back and say, you know what? It'll work eventually. Something will click. And it doesn't. So until we get that together, nothing's going to change. And listen, this just isn't an indictment on Jonathan Harbaugh. Eric DeCosta, you showed us some blame too, my friend. I don't know what you've been doing with these moves. I don't understand your vision. I don't understand what kind of team you're trying to assemble because it just ain't working. Like, we gave $7 million a year to Ricard, a fullback. Bruh, it's just like drafting a punter in the fourth. Never mind. Then we gave $7 million to Nick Boyle to do nothing, to sit on the bench. But we're constantly against the cap, and everybody wants to know where our dollars go. And they go there to useless players that do nothing for the team and leave us cash strapped at the end of the year. It's a repetitive cycle that we need to stop. But they don't want to seem to stop because, once again, they are smarter than we are. They know more. They're the true ones because everything they do turns to gold. And unfortunately, it's not coming up like that in the win column. My man, Dre, he had an album some years ago, and he said, all the glitters ain't gold. And these draft picks damn sure aren't it. Neither is this coaching staff, neither is this front office. So I think I feel a little better. You know, this is cathartic to get some of this off of my chest because, listen, I know y'all love y'all team, but I take offense when y'all start attacking my quarterback like he's the only reason that we're losing. But y'all don't give him all the credit when he's the only reason that we're winning. Until next time, y'all.